Good morning. Eddie G's Music World, December 9th, 2019. Um, I've written some personal things in the past. Poems that could be lyrics, could be poems. It's all interpretation. I did that about a year back, and I felt maybe I would just take a break from the Wonder show that I've done, and I figured I would just go through a few, and if they inspire people to write music for it, or just they just want to hear it, they can go ahead. Now, in Montreal, there was a mass shooting December 6th or so, 1989, where Mark Lepine he killed a bunch of 14 women. So I felt inspired to write a poem about the massacre in École Polytechnique school in Montreal. And this is the poem I wrote. A day begins, snow falls. Terror begins, destiny calls. He takes his gun, goes to the school, walks around, feeling cool. Stalking prey, he feels okay. They won't see another day. Did he die with a smile on his face, putting his family in disgrace, flowing the blood like a fountain on that dark night on the mountain? Was it satisfaction that he felt, pulling that Ruger from his belt, tearing down futures that were built, spreading pain, causing guilt? We'll never know the emotions inside about the love he was forced to hide, about the screams when they died. Time machine on the details soon forgotten, but that day we won't forget about the 14 names and the faces we never met. We never even met, sorry. What lessons what lesson was learned by those students that day is that you never know who will come to play. What evil brews inside the brain manifesting itself in a conductor free train. So when you look in a stranger's eyes, be careful not to shake, since he could be looking at you like a coiled rattlesnake. This is written December 1989, and it's called 14 Roses in the Snow, is the name of the poem. I think I did submit it to people that were doing stories about the mass shooting, but I never heard back from anybody. No, okay. I'm trying to weed out what are stories because I don't want to read a story. So this is a story. Here's um just going to get something that would be more in line with what I'm trying to do. Here's another story I wrote. It's cold to the touch, like your skin I love so much. Soft, smooth, and weather beaten, but like the water, you are as near as you are far. And with the love, the sour turned sweetened. Nature and man tried to walk hand in hand, forever clashing and destined for doom. We'll watch it together forever and ever. See if the wildflower will bloom. That's another fastly written. These are all things that were inspired by my life. Here's poems. Okay, let's see. There's another one. I don't want to give stuff that's like birthday present, birthday card related type of stuff, which I've done. Here's a new one. You put mountains in my way. Now it's judgment day. You said I had nothing left to say. Now get out of my way. Every drop of blood you spilled from me, every wasted tear that flowed from me, was because of what you had to say. I didn't listen anyway. 6'2", I felt so small. You conspired to take it all. Never will you break me down. You shift and tie. I'm not sure what I wrote. You shift and tie. Fucking clown. Come behind me in second place. You thought you're going to win the race. I don't fault you, your dirty ways. You would cheat and lie to win the race. I just beat you at the game. If we play again, if we try again, it will be the same. So I believe that's completed. Oh, there's more. When I spoke, you cut me off like a pig eating from a trough, sucking pleasure from my mind. You tried to outrun me and put me behind. The race is running faster now. You're feeling bolder. You're feeling proud. The trap you set will never open. I won't fall in them like you're hoping. The finish line is in my eyes. You stumble on your many lies. I I beat you at your own game. If we play again, it will be the same. Oh, you want to win the prize. Oh, you see the victory in your eyes. Don't assume I will give it up. Don't dream of drinking from the cup. I'll put little notes that I've read them so I don't reread them because don't want to be repeating things that I've done. Okay. Try a few more. We're 6 minutes in, and this is fun. And if anybody likes what I've written and they think they can put music to it, go right ahead. Here's a very short one, but it could be somewhat interesting. I speak of puppets with strings. I speak of birds with broken wings. I speak of you. I speak of harvested land, a fighter's broken hand. I speak of you. I speak of bets that were lost, dice that were tossed. I think of you. You might deem from this that I'm kind of a negative guy. You know what? You'd be right. Because life doesn't give lemonade very often. Okay. This is a strange one, but on the top of the page, I have the word lost written. Okay, so let's just read it and see how it goes. She wore a gray t-shirt because it fit her best. It clung to her body like velvet. It enclosed her ample chest. Good morning, Missy. I'm very thrilled to have you listening. I'm thrilled. I rarely have a lot of people listening, and you're a faithful person that has been kind enough to jump in, and I appreciate it. I'm reading poems that I wrote. You might like it. Well, you're a woman, so let's say that you might find it interesting. Trying to beat free from herself, she had to leave to save her health. Not knowing what she'd find out, she had to search the emptiness. Look at what she found. It was more than zero, but she didn't know the amount. What about the price? She had no money, but she didn't take my advice. Was it worth the cost of wasting her life just to find out what she lost? Feeling numb about what she had done, she thought about where she had come from. Which direction was home? She knew she would get there alone. No, she knows he will never return. After one night, those memories burn. At the time, it felt so right. A life of dreams ended in just one night. He was attracted to her so fast. It ended so soon, it couldn't last. If she could go back to that time, she would undo what she had done. And, I don't even know who inspired this stuff. I really don't remember. These poems, some of them are dated, but they're mostly from the mid 90s. Okay, so let's see if I find another I'm going to go half an hour in. If you could stick around, Miss, you'd be great. If not, that's okay. I want you to listen and tell me if you think they're inspirational poems. Here's a new one. The sun brings the night like the winter brings the snow. The darkness surrounds me like a cancer it grows. And I find myself full of the emptiness you bring when your calls stop coming in. It really makes me think about the words that you said, how they ring in my head. They bounce around my mind and they stay in the corners. Leaving me to myself, they linger on and on and on. Interesting. I have an idea who inspired this, but I don't want to say the name because I'm not sure. Not that they're ever going to know. A new poem here. I really, I don't know about you, Missy, but when I feel down and I feel stressed and upset, I write my thoughts down and they come out in rhymes if I try a little bit. Here's a new one. Burnt out fool broke the golden rule, broke the mold, tarnished the jewel. You raised your head from the ground. You listened for that silent sound. There's nothing louder than no one there. The empty feeling of an empty chair. The dropping temperature of an icy stare. When you wake up and look around, the weight of your soul is many pounds. Sitting there day in, day out, you can't fill it up. Your luck's run out. Desperation starts to set in. You reach for the phone. You have to give in. You sweat thinking about the response. Doubt swirls around you. You have to hold on. She takes a second, it feels like a minute, and whispers a confusing hello. You're not sure how to interpret it. Fly too high or sink real low. After going on with this or that, you you cut to the quick, straight out fast. What you doing? Taking can we get together? Maybe later can we get together? Or stay on the level of talking about the weather. Yeah, I do too. Well, I mean, these are just reflections. When I've had relationships that didn't work or there were problems, I would just drown myself in writing these things. Here's another negative one. I can tell by the look, the first few words. Dark shadows give way to mustard colored skies. Exhaust leave from the steel wheels, filling the air with its dark stench as the live birds scurry into their cluttered branches. Sorry, a young man walks alone down the crowded morning streets, his head more heavy than a head should be. Carries his baggage with him. Nowhere to hide. He must face himself once again. In the eyes, the bitter memories make up the color that shines outward. The faint trace of tears can be sensed but never seen. Unlike laughter that is heard once, then gone into the wind forever. His travels bring him nowhere the street. The street stains, the street signs around him all seem to be dead, and the 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 headlights that beckon him in all reason for its empty pockets, none of them for his far heart. The feeling inside him fight desperately for life, but it can only survive by clinging to each other. The tension in his every step are amplified with every apprehensive move toward the invisible ball and chain will always hold him back. Doubts circle around him looking for an open wound to invade. They sport a cut, some blood and swoop in to enjoy the victory together. The spirit flickers, its frame softly dying at the beauty of the constant wind. The day is dead. The black light hides under the sun, waiting for it. Wrap its coat of pain around him again. Now, this would qualify as more a story, as not really lyrics or poems. But I threw it in the folder, so pretty hard to come up with any real poetic type of thing with that. Here's another one. Boy, the paper that you can see, it's faded. These are 25, 30 years old. Here I sit in my frustration, look for a reason for my creation. I don't know how, I don't know why. We are born to die. You get up early every day. In the subway, you run and play. Focus your eyes on the money treat, but you're just a hustler on the street. Go back to the money tree. See if it bears fruit. Cut it down like George Washington and set a new bet. I'm not sure what that means. I like the first part, not the last few parts. We will not go on past 30 minutes. We'll just have a little fun with this and maybe do it another time too. Okay, this is Empty Pages. Now, I've done this possibly before, but I'm not sure. I'll read it again just in case people find it interesting. Empty pages. I keep turning those empty pages. Even though my hopes and dreams were full, I kept turning those empty pages. They all had such distant faces. In their eyes, there were faint traces. I was looking for some genuine decency, but all I could see were faint traces. Their words rang so hollow. Their feelings were so hard to follow. In my soul, I knew there was so much more. My faith in them was sinking so low. Then a page stayed with me. A new image was there for all to see. There was something different. I believed in what was in front of me. No more empty pages. I had grown past those stages. Now a new vision appeared. No more empty pages. The truth was coming to me. It was time to set it free. So I wanted to meet here to see if it could be. One day led to the next. She was better than the best. You have to wait for what you want. Put your faith to the test. So when you come across those empty pages, try to be a little more courageous. You may get what you deserve. I keep turning those empty pages. Now, I actually had somebody help me out with the music for that, and we actually made a song, which I'll post on my show one of these days. Thank you, Missy. They're also part of my, all based on relationships, crazy times that I went through. I bet you have some stories too one day. Here, this one's called If I Were to Go. If I were to go, how long would it take for my memory to diminish in people's minds? If I were to go, some people would be sad for the rest of their lives. Some people would grieve for a monthly, some only would grieve for a day. The thought of me would drag around them like a lovesick puppy clings to their master's leg when he leaves for the day. I would shrink into the crevice in most people's minds. I would be bored out by the day. To today struggle which forced me out of the game in the first place. Tears would collect from some eyes, barely wetting the eyes of others. Does anybody know how they will be remembered? I brought as much to this world as a cloud's explosion brings to the ocean. A lonely grain of sand trying to make a name for itself in the desert. A blank stare coming from a black sheep, with the shepherd not even bothering to stare back. A dead fish amongst all the others on a shore on a fisherman's boat after a big haul. Instead of being the great white shark, I am only the minnow he didn't even bother to eat. The stray cat, so scraggly and unkempt, no one would even pet it. I am all these things and more. Not quite the stuff of greeting cards. I actually sent these some poems to greeting cards 25 years ago. Still waiting to hear from them. Here's another one. Let's see if this is more upbeat. This is Eddie G's Music World reading poems to an audience of one, but I'm very happy to have that one. I am the ball boy at the World Series who gets left behind in the champagne shower shared by the winning players. I hold out my hat, playing my harmonica as each hour brings that jingle jangle of another nickel falling fast into the worn out covering, in the worn out covering for this weary old head. Never understood, never cared. No one but my family ever did. I'm the leathered hand on the downtown street, outstretched in vain to the busy shoppers. I am the lion stolen from the jungle, caged and trapped to become a spectacle for those who cared to look. Some like that one is not a poem. It's kind of just musings, but the musings that I felt were important at the time, and some of them still are. So it's a real mixed bag. Look at this paper. This is like a long time ago. Let me see if this is part of a series. No, I don't think so. The lonely look in a stranger's eyes stays with me forever. The tears swell in the corners, hiding the inner terror. The road to ruin is paved with gold. It's a speedy, steady journey. The road to happiness is hard to find. It's covered in obscurity. See, these are parts that if they're put together by talented people might turn out to be songs. Uh, Here's another one. Oh, this one I've done. This is a repeated one. I don't need that one again. This is repeated. I have copies of stuff that I've done before. This was I remember being very down at this time. Look at this date. March 1st, 1990. We're almost at 30 years ago. The winter forms a soft white cloud and drifts it through my day. I dream about another world where the pain will go away. Tears start falling. A whisper is heard. I look at you, then look inward. I wonder why you look so sad, your heart so clean, thoughts never bad. A smile sometimes is on your face, but rarely do I see it. Take the time to look around you, and you will change a bit. I have a feeling this is when I met somebody, and I just was a little stressed out about the situation because it didn't last. Sometimes it doesn't last, sometimes it does. Here, let's see what this has. This is an upbeat one. Chapter 1. Want to have some fun. Gonna feel our warm bodies roasting in the sun. The dreams of tomorrow happening today. Gonna see what happens with you and me. Chapter 2. Didn't know what to do. I knew I wanted you, baby. Then there's a bunch of stuff. This is a bit messy. Love is grown, feeling shown, and we're feeling all right. Will every night feel like a Saturday night? The book of love is fun to read. Every chapter is love special seed. It takes time for the feelings to grow. So come on with me, come on with me, baby, to watch the show. Time will tell if we make it or not. We'll go from the bottom all the way to the top. The time we spend together, I hope it never stops. Here's more. Another one. Okay, this is the one from 1990. That's the second part of a poem I read earlier. The brightness of the things around you should shine in your almond eyes. If your heart isn't filled with joy, give it another try. Together we'll walk on life's lonesome road, carefully so we don't trip. Hold my hand, I'll understand, I'll catch the tears that drip. Listen to me, close your eyes, listen to your soul. Surround yourself with good people, then you'll be in control. Couple more. You're a trooper, Missy, for sticking around. Well, this looks like a depressing one. End my life. What will they say? Listen to flies buzzing away. Burn the words into my dead ears and shine the truth at lies. If I fell a million miles into the great abyss, would it shake you up, my dear? What of mine would you miss? My eyes, my tears, my open mouth. They open, pour, and breathe. But don't forget they did for me, for no one else, loved or not, ever brought me to them for free. I've broken myself into several pieces and spread myself about, but all who have known me never understood the real me. Once too shy, then too bold. I hope I die before I get old. But seriously, folks, enough jokes. Fit in, fit in it, fit in. It was tough. I was never good enough. The crowds, they grew together only to keep me apart. My heart was broken before it could start. Okay, one or two more. Make it an even 30. September 20th, 1992. I don't know what the inspiration was for this. Their friendship grew a little at a time into something real and true. And then they realized it was getting serious. What were they to do? They marched down the aisle in grandiose style for all friends and family to see. The happy couple who found each other on that we must all agree. When you look at them, you can sense a genuine love within. We can all be thankful that fate allowed their time together to begin. They now have brought us all together to gleefully rejoice this day. We realize when we look into their eyes that their feelings will always stay. For no matter what may hold them back or temporarily get in their way, they will always share these special moments which we celebrate today. So enjoy yourself, raise a glass, and toast the day together. This day is one to be remembered. Salute to Jack and Etta. Now, that was from my grandparents. My grandmother remarried somebody after her husband died. And then they both died within 5 years of this poem. Here we are at the final poem for the week, Eddie G's Music World. Let's see what this one is. Okay, this is a bit of a downer, but I'll read it anyway. Eddie G's Music World, final poem, December 9th, 2019. Does anyone know the results before the end? Who puts two together? Faith, God, devil? The fire gets hot, only to burn out. Is it worth the trip, only for it to end? Is eternity only a dream, or can it only be achieved when we close our eyes about what we detest in our other? Can we close parts of our minds and leave other parts open? I love you, I hate you, I hold you close, I push you away. I touch your skin, the love begins. The next day the tricks play with my mind. I become unkind. High tide love, low tide pain, then reverse. The flow of emotions can drift you to a watery grave. Is it worth it? Confusion is akin to suicide. Confusion, sorry, is akin to suicide. It is better to end it all and be free of this pain. But how will I perceive their grief if I carved life, if I can't live to grieve it? It is perversely thrilling to imagine watching my own funeral. After all their pain is really bought love for me. What attention, listen to them. I know him. He was nice. He knew music. He had problems. I should have known he would kill himself. I didn't kill myself. I don't know what. This must have been a horrible breakup. Well, I'm getting really super depressed. Missy, please don't get depressed. Please. I'm going to say thanks. Because you are kind. This ends Eddie G's Music World for another week. Thank you for those who might listen and will listen. I'm signing off. Have a good day. Missy, be well, be kind. Kiss your family. Kiss your kids. Bye. And your husband.